Afternoon, everyone. Good evening, good morning, wherever in the world you are. My name is Lena, and today on this show, we have Diana Grant with us. Diana is a well-being coach and author, and she also helps people to connect with their true essence, uncover their dreams, and ignite their passion for life. So, Diana, welcome. I'm really glad to be talking here to you today.
Hi, Lena. Thanks so much for having me here. Thank you.
Sure. So can you just please explain us a little bit more about what you do and actually what brought you into this work?
Okay, sure. What brought me into this work was abandoning myself. So I went on a long journey away from me and away from who I am, and I felt the pain of that. I was going through my teens and my 20s, really just sort of trying a whole lot of things and never being true to me, and but always knowing that there was something there. And I started exploring it later on in my 30s. Everything turned for me around my 33rd birthday. And I really made a new commitment to myself and realized that all the wisdom and all the well-being that I needed and all the joy that I needed for myself and love was within me. So that sort of launched me on the path. And I realized it's my complete passion to help people find that for themselves. So yeah.
It's interesting because I think a lot of us have that turning point in our lives, right? I mean, some come to it a lot earlier. I came to it probably around when I was just turned 40. And when, doing this work and I've attending so many workshops, I've even met people in their 80s who just had this, they've changed their lives completely in the last couple of years because they felt a calling, not a calling, but this kind of like time to wake up and really do something they love. So I'm just grateful, that we still have a full life ahead of us in so many years to really do something that inspires us and also makes difference to people's lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I think I had two turning points. The first one I ignored. I had one at a very young age where it was really a calling on me to help people and to commit to this path, and I ran away from it. And that was in my teens, and I really ran hard and I ran into a lot of brick walls before I came full circle and came back to it. So yeah.
I'm just curious, what were you doing before you started this work?
I've done many things, Lena. I always say to people, I've had many, many lives in this one life. Right before this, I was in retail media and marketing in South Africa before I moved to the UK. And my career path before that, I kind of went through a whole lot of different jobs, all linking into each other. So I went from retail into training, into marketing. It kind of sort of just linked in. But the coaching side of things I started many years ago when I first sort of rose to this calling, as I said, in my early 30s, and I got passionate about supporting other people. I started with a body awareness program that I developed, and I realized that people couldn't just do the program without needing some support. And from my training background, I had been trained to be a trainer. I kind of started turning that into more of a coaching scenario, and then I started studying up on coaching and mentoring and what it would mean to actually support people in their journey. So I was always doing that as well as kind of a 9-to-5 salary job. Yeah.
The good old 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
So what do you find what do you find the biggest challenge or the issue that people experience, people who choose to work with you? What is their biggest challenge?
For me, it's people who have lost a sense of who they are and what drives them just through everyday life. Because, in general, in our society, there's so many sort of must do. I must do this, I must do that. There's so many responsibilities, a sense of what we should and shouldn't be doing, that I find people lose touch with. And that's why I speak about true essence. They lose touch with their true essence. They lose touch with what really drives them, what ignites their joy. So for me, it's about journeying with them to reconnect with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I completely relate. You're just so scared almost what other people think of you that you forget really pay attention to what you think of you, And
Absolutely.
for me, it happened because I moved so many countries as a child. And all I was trying to do was survive and adapt and, you know, make new friends. So you kind of like lose your individuality, you lose your voice. You're like, I'd rather fit in with this group of people because they're cool, and I will just go with whatever they want to do. And then
Yes.
obviously as it turns into adulthood, you forget how to speak your own truth. You completely bury it inside of you so deeply. And that causes you so much frustration. You like look at your life, you're like, I have an amazing job. I go skiing, I've got to, you know, to South Africa, I go everywhere. I've got two beautiful children in private schools. I've got everything. Why am I so dissatisfied with life? But that's because you've suppressed so much inside of you. And it's just, you know, amazing to have help, someone like you to help people to really unleash it, I guess.
Yeah, unleash is a great word. And it's so true what you say. So many of these things start in childhood. It's those personal belief systems that we develop because of experiences. And it's just, like you said, losing touch with what you want and what you desire, to sort of fit in, to make people around you happy, to ease a situation. And then before we know it, we're in adulthood and we're living that. And like you say, just that constant sense of dissatisfaction and what's missing, something's missing. And
Exactly.
yeah, to reconnect with the fact that it's yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
And, you know, so I mean, like, how do you do that? How do you help people to reconnect with with themselves?
I have various things that I do, but my motto for my company is love your body, love yourself, love your life.
Mm.
So I start with body work. I discovered body work years ago through Louise Hay. I'm sure you've heard of
Oh,
her.
yes, of course.
Yeah, body work and affirmations and the power of connecting with our emotional body and our physical body. And so I really start there with everybody that I work with, because there just seems to be a huge disconnect, in our society specifically. And it comes back to the same thing, feeling like you should look a certain way. And so starting with that dissatisfaction towards yourself and self-loathing in some cases, where people actually can't stand their own body.
Mm.
And our body is what gives us life, basically. I mean, we're not here unless we're here in a body, kind of, as far as we know at this stage. But yeah, so this life is about being physical. So I start very much with physical work, getting back into the skin you're in, experiencing it, appreciating who you are in your skin, and then from there going into the deeper elements. And it's such an amazing journey. It's so amazing what blocks are unblocked through working with the physical body.
Oh, I can relate it. I mean, I was beating up my body for years, you know, running marathons, ultra marathons, and it wasn't coming really from a place of joy. It was
Mm.
more coming from a place of, like, I don't know, being a masochist, I guess, you know, just the longer I ran, it means the more eats I can eat, the thinner I'll become, and
Yeah.
and nothing would ever make you happy, you know. So finding that love for your body, for the appreciation, it's just so important. And also, you know, work also with clients who are overweight and they're unhappy with their bodies and they barely even eat anything. I'm like, how can you even survive on this diet? You know, it wouldn't be enough to sustain myself. But I think because the mindset of a fat person, right? Because that's what the mindset is. They see themselves, no matter what they see themselves in the mirror, they don't like it. You know, they don't send any loving or kind thoughts to themselves. No matter what they eat and how much they exercise, they'll probably hit the biggest block there. And if they don't overcome it, nothing would help.
Exactly. It's such a key thing that we keep coming back to, and that is mindset. Um, and so I believe in unlocking the mindset, as I said, first through that physical connection, and then getting to the root of it, because that abandonment you're talking about and keeping yourself on that hamster wheel, you just got to go, go, go and keep going, because nothing's really ever enough or good enough or
Mm.
thin enough, like you said. So yes, it's about sort of stopping that process, slowing it down and getting back in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you say this kind of work is your true calling?
Definitely, definitely, Lena. When we talk about body work, I did exactly what you're talking about as well. I tried kind of everything, every way to be a masochist towards my own body. You mentioned running. I did that long before that. I entered into anorexia, knowing what I was doing. Bulimia as well, drinking too much, partying too hard, running too much, doing both at the same time, like literally going from a party to a run. You know, it's like, what the hell, my poor body, the fact that it survived is a miracle. And so I realized, when it came down to me asking myself, why have I done this journey? And when I got in touch with me and the essence of who I am, and realizing how passionate I am about human beings having a joyful life experience, and the journey that I'd taken, I realized, yes, this is definitely my calling. And the joy that I feel doing what I do every day tells me that same thing. So yes, definitely my calling.
So what would you say like inspires you, some books that you can share with us you read, or some podcasts, or what really drives you forward and gives you that sense of purpose?
That's a good one. Okay. At the moment, I must say I've got some favorites. So a very, very foundation favorite for me is Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh.
That's a
Yeah,
good one.
it's so profound. It's at first it can be hard to swallow. The first time I read it, I was a bit dubious. I was like, oh, but it hooked me in. And so I did read it through, and then I read it again, and I can't tell you how many times I've read and listened to it since then. Others is the Toltec Wisdom series by Don Miguel Ruiz and his father. They're really brilliant, and cover a whole lot of different aspects of life and self-love. At the end of it, it all comes back to self-love. And then Gabrielle Bernstein is a very current author, and she's very active on social media as well. She shares a lot of tools, like free downloads and stuff. She's very much aligned with the work I do. So I definitely recommend her. As well as I mentioned earlier, Louise Hay, good old Louise Hay. That's really, really mind-opening work, the work that she did.
Yeah, there's a lot of incredible authors, and I know I also spoke about the what is it, the Wallace Walton Wallace, what is it
yes,
called?
the Science of Getting Rich.
Science of Getting Rich, yes. That's the one. Yeah, because I believe you also listen to it daily, don't you?
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
So that's another thing is, I mean, that was written so long ago.
Yeah, it was.
And yet it's full of such profound wisdom. So I love to listen to that. As I've shared with you, I listen to a couple of specific chapters every day. And that's to support me and my mindset. I really believe in that. There's also another guy that I haven't mentioned, Kenneth Soares, who's on YouTube every day. And he streams I Am Affirmations that I love to just listen to in the background, because your subconscious takes it in, and it's these beautiful, positive I am statements. I use that a lot in my work as well with my clients, I am statements, which can be really challenging, but really liberating as well.
Yeah, especially when you don't believe it,
When you don't believe it, yeah. It can be a bit of a shock. Whoa.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Really? No, I'm not. No, and stop lying to yourself. You're not. But I think if you repeat it long enough and also attach an emotion to it, the emotion is the key, really, isn't it? It's because you can repeat something until you go purple in your face, but there needs to be an emotion associated with that affirmation. That's what really gives it the charge that propels us forward, I guess.
That's where I think shadow work is very important. Carl Jung came up with the concept of shadow work, and that's about connecting with the subconscious. So when you don't believe it, I'm a firm believer in connecting with that part that doesn't believe it, and then getting to know why and comforting that part. So I also do a lot of inner child work with my clients as well, to comfort the part of us that has the fear of, like, I'm not going to believe that statement, I am worthy or I am beautiful, or, because it's not true. It hasn't been true in my life experience. So digging deeper and getting right down into those belief systems and sort of comforting them and easing them back until you can believe that affirmation.
Yeah, absolutely. So who do you normally work with? Like, is there a specific age range? Is it more male, female, or is it a mixture of everyone?
It's mostly women, Lena. There are a couple of men, because my work has come out of my own very strong feminine energy, and a lot of the programs that I've written are around the body, and women are much more open to body work initially. So it is a majority of women, but I do have some men that work with me as well, and I'm hoping that number will increase, because I'm passionate about the rise of feminine energy what I call divine feminine in society. Society has become very male and very patriarchal, and now it's time for a balance to come. So I really believe that feminine energy is rising up, and that's why so many women are doing such important work in the world. However, that said, we all have male and female in us, and so I just see beautiful men rising up with their own feminine energy all over the world as well. So that really excites me, and the men that I work with are comfortable with that and in touch with that. So mostly women, but some men.
Yeah, there is. I've noticed there's a big change now because, I mean, I've attended Dr. Joe Dispenza workshops, and the first time I went was just over 2 years ago, or 2018 November. And I remember there was about 95% of females, and the men that were there, most of them were dragged by their wives.
Right.
And the transformations they were having, it was mind-blowing. You know, you could see them on a first day and on day 7. They went walking, they were floating, they were ready, and they were joyful. They were full of love and life, and you know, it was just incredible. But then when I went this year, February, I was in Munich. I was quite surprised to see that number of men has increased significantly, you know, and a lot of them came actually by themselves without being dragged there. So in just, you know, about a year and a half, it's been a big shift there, definitely.
Yeah, that is so exciting, isn't it?
It is very exciting. I'm glad so many more people becoming open to it. You know, it's just, yeah, just so much more than what we see with our senses, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So where can people find you if they wanted to get in touch with you?
Okay, great. The easiest place is my website, which is my name, dianagrant.com.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm on social media. So Instagram, it's also Diana Grant 2020. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page for Diana Grant if they don't connect with me personally. Or just directly, my email is diana@dianagrant.com. So yeah.
Brilliant. So what I'll do is I will share the links to social media under the video below.
Okay.
And if anyone listening wants to get in touch with Diana, you'll be able to do that through the links below. And thank you very much, Diana, for being here and giving us more understanding about your work. It's really, really inspiring. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been great chatting.
Brilliant. And thanks everyone for listening. And that brings us to the end of today's show. And happy Thursday, everyone.